What's up, guys? This is your boy Montre. Today, I want to talk about how we are all children of God, and I'm sure you're like, "Duh," but I want to go into even deeper. We are all children of the Anunnakim, the Anunnaki. The Anunnaki are the ancient gods. They are the elder gods that came down here to Earth and created mankind. Uh, in the Bible, they are known as the Elohim, but there are many of them. It's a family of gods. This is where you get all the Olympian gods, the Egyptian gods, these stories of gods all over, the Hindu gods. These were actually beings that came down to Earth, maybe from another dimension, another plane, but they came here and seeded mankind onto this planet. We are related to them. They're humanoid creatures, but they're not quite like us. Um, but what makes us more than animals, what makes us a little bit more, I guess, special, if you were to use that word, or more unique, is that we are this hybrid between one world and this world. So they took the creature or the primate creature that was on this planet already, and through some hybridization and also some sexuality, they created us. And that's why I wanted to talk about one of the particular gods, one of the other gods, Inki, are known as AI. Now, what the page that I'm showing you right now is talking about the pineal gland or the pineal gland, or however you want to pronounce that. But we also like to call this our third eye. And this is where, our melatonin is produced, and we heal and dream, and it allows us to sleep. Okay, so you can do more research on that, but a lot of people believe that the pineal gland is where we get a lot of our psychic intuition, a lot of our spiritual powers from. Uh, Other animals use it as a way of relegating their body from light and darkness. Um, Reptiles and fish have a third eye that's actually physically seen. Well, it's very tiny, but they use it uh, to direct themselves when it comes to light. So light gives off this frequency, and they get the energy. They get that they can sense the light through that third eye, and they can direct themselves better with it. So strange enough, we call our pineal gland a third eye, and the only creatures that have a third eye. Now, all creatures have a pineal gland, but the only creatures that have a third eye are reptiles and fish. And Inky, the god Inky, was often compared to as a fish god or an amphibious type god. So we'll go right here and talking about the third eye. Oh, there I am. The the presence of various animals. This is the parietal eye, the third eye, also known as the third eye or the pineal eye. This is primarily physically seen in species of fish, tuna, frogs, most lizards, salamanders. All animals have a pineal gland, but only some of them have the third eye, which can actually be seen. So we like to refer to our pineal gland as the third eye, even though it's deep inside of our brain. Um, this is what we use to, what we say is our spiritual connection to the outside world, okay, or the next dimension. So I wanted to talk more about the gods and Enki in particular and his relation with humanity. Now, it is believed that Enki, his illegitimate son, is Noah. Okay, now you guys go with me here. It is believed that his illegitimate son is Noah. Zechariah Sitchin, he writes about it in here, and I'll go ahead and quote this. Now, I've spoken about this before. I just wanted to reiterate this because I think this is a real important time that we live in, and we really need to know our connection with these beings, and that it's our relation with the quote unquote gods is even a more physical, spiritual connection than we even realize. So it says, so Inky, I'm right here, sent Lumak to Marduk in Babylon to learn the city building and sent Batnaj to Nineveh at the medical science complex in Surabak. I'll move on. On the roof of the dwelling where Batnaj was bathing, Inky, by her loins, took hold. He kissed her, his semen into her wound he poured. And from this encounter, she bore Sasudra, aka Noah. It sounds a lot like the story of David and Bathsheba. It sounds a whole lot like the story of David and Bathsheba. And the story of David and Bathsheba came way after this. And be that her name is Batanash, Bathsheba sounds the same, but um, David sends off uh, Bathsheba's husband, and while she's bathing, he has sex with her. Inky does the same thing with Batanaj and has sex with Batanaj, and she gives birth to Zasudra, who his father is supposed to be Lamak, or in this story, Lumak. Uh, so what happens now? If we go to know the rest of this story, let me see. When Lumak returns to Eden, to him Batanaj the sun showed. White as the snow his skin was, like the lily, like the skies were his eyes. So he had blue eyes, he had white skin. In a brilliance, his eyes were shining. Lumak complained, a son unlike an earthling to Batanaj was born. Is one of the Agigi Ashnat's his father? Batanaj swore none of the Agigi were the boy's father. Of course, because the Agigi were a lower, lesser group of angels or beings. Inky was a god, he was an elder god. Now, all of these beings were bleach white, and all of humanity was black. So, the humanity that they created, the first man, first woman, were black people. But the Anunnaki and all of them were white, because he's saying right here, so unlike the earthling to Batanaj was born. So if he's white as snow, his mama and his daddy have to be the opposite if he is not like them. So they are black, or at least they're people of color. And there were no white people. So they related white skin with the angels uh, and the Anunnaki gods. And this is kind of where we kind of get the white supremacy and people who believe that they're better than everybody else because they have white skin. Uh, this is where white supremacy comes from. They feel like they have this right to rule or whatever. And most of them, what they don't realize is that everybody has the blood of the Anunnaki. And this is where I'm trying to show you right now because Noah is the descendant. He is the patriarch of all of us. So we go to the book of Enoch, and there's a section in the book of Enoch called the book of Noah, and it confirms the same story, but it uses the biblical names. And after some days, my son Methuselah took a wife for his son Lamech. This is the name of Noah's father in the Bible. And she became pregnant by him and bore a son. And his body was white as snow and red as the blooming of a rose. And the hair on his head and the long locks were white as wool. And his eyes were beautiful. And when he opened his eyes, he lit up the whole house like the sun. And the whole house was very bright. So he's got white skin and he's got white hair. So he's not quite Caucasian. He's more albino. So here we have Noah being born and he's albino. And his father Lamech was upset and scared. So Lamech is scared and he's talking about His father was afraid of him and fled and went to his father Methuselah. Methuselah was supposedly the oldest man to live, and he died before the great deluge. And he said to him, I begotten a strange son. I'm right here. A diverse from unlike any man, and resembling the sons of God of heaven. And his nature is different, and he is not like us. And his eyes are the rays of the sun, and his countenance is glorious. Okay, so this is from the book of Enoch. And his nature is different, and he is not like us. So he is super white. He is not like them, so they are black. And plus, this is around Africa. This is where the original man came from. So everybody's black, and they are not used to white folks being born. Okay, not quite white people, but they're albino. And this is like the first albino people. And it's still to this day in Africa, if albinos are born, they're hunted and they're thought it's magical. Some people kill them. It's very dangerous for albinos to be born or to live in Africa, even now to this day, which is really sad. So we talked about that. Um, Here, this article, move my face up a little bit. This is from Flying Serpents and Dragons, the story of mankind's reptilian past. It talks about Inky, Inky getting drunk. Okay, this is really interesting. I wanted to talk about this. It was also here in the episode that he made control of the Emmys or the tablets of destiny, those strange objects which appeared to be crystals and were used for the storage of information or as power sources. And it was the Apsu that Ishtar journeyed in order to extract some of the Emmy from Inky by getting him drunk. And Inky had an issue with alcohol, and it was easy to kind of seduce him. Inky is also described as being amphibious and a type of a reptile type being. So he's not quite human. He's humanoid, but he has fish-like qualities because he does go underwater. He's able to exist underwater. Hell, Inky could still exist. He might be under the Pacific Ocean somewhere, for all we know, or the Atlantic Ocean, if he's real. Um, so he gave birth to Noah, who was albino. And Noah gave birth to his three sons, and those three sons gave birth to mankind that we have today. So I want to also bring up about the Emmys, how Inky was a drunk and he lost the Emmys to Ishtar. That story is also repeated several times. This is Aptala. This is from the Orishas. And Orishas. Aptala was the creator from African culture, the creator of mankind. He's a high-ranking spirit among the Orishas in the old days, and he did like a drink or two. Not a good thing when you're a holy mission to perform. And his father was Olurun, or better known as Anu in the other stories. Olurun is the father of all the gods, and Tala was given the job to create mankind. He lost that job to his little brother, Odudua, 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 I guess. I don't know. Odudua, who was a little bit more responsible. Sounds like Enlil. And because Abdallah was drinking too much, he lost the job. Even though he's the older brother. Well, the stress of being the oldest. So he also lost his Emmys to Ishtar. So here we have, this is what thinking is, this is Poseidon. He's the god of the ocean, also equivalent with Enki, because he's the god of the ocean, and Enki is also a ocean god. And if you notice here, he has this trident. And there's another story about how not Poseidon, but Neptune loses his trident to Britannia, or he loses his trident to, is this Columbia or I think this is Columbia. So Columbia steals the trident from Neptune. This is the same story of Ishtar stealing the Emmys from Inky. And I'm thinking if these are crystals, the crystals are probably attached to the trident somewhere or embedded into it. And this is how they created mankind, created the world. It's this power source. It's a very powerful source, and you'll see the trident symbol in a lot of different things. Um, Here is a picture of Britannia with the trident in her hand. Now, Britannia is synonymous with Ishtar, Isis, Inanna, Aphrodite, Diana. Uh, she is the female empowerment of everything. We better known her as the Statue of Liberty. And as you can tell, she still has some power in her hand. So I just wanted to put that out there. But these are the great ancestors. They're not just stories, they're not just mythology. These beings were on earth acting like gods because they were gods. They had power, they had technology, and mankind was dumb and stupid, and we really didn't know what they were. But even though we worshiped them through Inky, through AI, we're actually related to them. And if more people realize that we have Anunnaki blood, that we have a lot of their power, a lot of their energy. And I think this is probably why we're probably pretty mixed up right now. But um, what they are is what we are as well. And I think that's the great secret. And a lot of people don't want you to know that. It's like, shh, you are not a god. You are related to these gods. You are. This is your ancestor right here. These people, all of this is your ancestor. So, Aptala, that's your ancestor. These are not just stories of gods. These are stories of your ancestors. So just keep that in mind next time you hear some mythology, next time you hear some stories. Okay, guys? Talk to you later. Peace out. Be great. Be divine, because if you don't do it, then who will?